Welcome to the Savvy Podcast, the show designed to help you master your listening skills and expand your real-world vocabulary, all while diving into fascinating topics. This week, we're talking about the power of a positive mindset and how habits can change your success, not just in learning English, but in life. Joining me are two fantastic guests, Pullen, one of the inspiring Savvy sisters, and Gabriela, one of our brilliant students. They'll be sharing tips, advice, and insights that are not only practical for your English journey, but also for building a better you. Let's jump in, shall we? Welcome to episode number 3 of our Savvy podcast on positive mindset and habit. Welcome back, Jolie.
Hello, good morning.
How are you this morning?
Very well, very happy to be back so soon.
And we are very privileged to have our first Savvy student here today, and it is Gaby Arias. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so excited to talk about habits.
Good. And I just want to check, did I get the pronunciation correct on your name?
Yes, you say it right. Gaby
More or
Arias.
less, more or less correct. Good, perfect. Now, as we have a student for the first time on the show, me and Jolie will be looking at your English very carefully, and if we do hear a mistake, we will pick it out, or we'll pick up on it, and just to make it clear to our listeners about the mistake, and I'm sure you won't. I know your English is very good, but we will be listening for that. And Gaby, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background? Who are you?
Ooh, that's a deep question. Besides that I'm a Savvy student, I'm also a fitness and life coach. I help women to step into their power, and also I help them to improve their quality of life through my coaching sessions one-to-one and also workshops. And my passion and my mission is to help them achieve their goals, their personal goals, and improve their quality of life.
Wow, amazing. Jolie,
Okay.
could you tell us about mindset?
Okay, and how I would define it?
And how you would define it, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, good question. So for me, a mindset is essentially an accumulation of the thoughts that you have every day and your internal narrative. So when you're going about your day, what are you thinking about? Is that positive or is that negative? So it's all of the thoughts that are bouncing around your head every day.
Good, perfect. And we often have negative mindsets as we go about our day-to-day life.
Yep.
Could you explain to us why it is so important to have a more positive mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start with a quote, one of my favorite quotes.
Very impressive.
And it's, if you tell yourself you can or you can't, either way, you're right. And sometimes this can be quite difficult to get your head around, which is quite a good expression, actually. So get your head around means entender, so to understand something properly, to get your head around something. If you tell yourself you can or you can't, either way you're right, basically means, imagine you tell yourself you just don't have enough time to do something, therefore you don't even engage in trying because you've already told yourself you can't possibly do it. So switch that and say, actually, I can do it, and already you are closer to achieving it, aren't you?
And what is to switch something?
To switch, yeah, like to change.
Yeah, it's literally to change something, yeah.
Yeah, to change something in the other direction, to switch it.
Exactly, perfect. And how can this be important for someone studying or learning English?
Yeah, really important. So, for example, we do this in the first week of our 12-week coaching. One of the activities is for the student to put themselves into the future and to write in the present tense how their English is, to describe their English in 2029. And the idea is that there are absolutely no limits, so they can be super creative and elaborate and say things that feel really unnatural to them in order to put them into this possibility mindset. What is possible for me? If I'm telling myself every day, I will never speak like a native, I just don't have enough time to really learn English. English is my nemesis. I've been studying it my whole life and I just can't improve, which are really common things we hear our students say. Those are their beliefs, that's their mindset, their internal narrative, and ultimately believing that is affecting their progress because they can't even possibly imagine another possibility. And this activity invites them to consider, actually, if you had no limitations, and if you didn't habitually tell yourself these things, what could actually be a possibility for you? So that's activity 1.
And what answers have you got?
We've had some really, really creative answers, actually. People who have said, like, I have my own YouTube channel and I explain things about my industry in English. I present to my foreign shareholders with so much confidence. Like, I'm nothing like the person I used to be. I use all these expressions in my meetings and I'm just so proud of how far I've come, and all of these things that, unless you're invited to think that way, you probably wouldn't ever just sit down and write them down. So
Perfect. And I just want to go back to something that you said there. You said used to, which is a very good grammar point that we look at in classes.
yeah, it's true.
Could you explain what used to is?
Yeah, so it's a common mistake. Lots of people confuse the words usually with used to, and they're similar. Usually is used to speak about the present tense, so normalmente, suelo. And used to is basically talking about past habits, things we did in the past that now we don't do. So solía hacer algo.
Good. So like 2 examples is I usually shower every day, honestly.
Okay. Hope so.
And the other one is I used to live in Australia. So something
For
that
example,
I did. But I did.
exactly. I used to have a negative mindset and now I don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Good, perfect. Then I do shower every day, sometimes twice. And Gaby, let's talk about habits. Could you tell me a little bit about good habits, bad habits, and how you can change them?
Yeah, of course. Like habits, we have a habit in our life based on the actions we take every day. And the actions that we take every day build our identity. So I would like to share 3 ways that you can implement new habits into your life in a friendly way. Because we have some good and bad habits, and with examples that I will give you, you will understand the difference. If you want to implement a new habit in your life, first you have to start small and simple. Think something, for example, if you want to start reading, don't think like, I have to finish this book by the end of the week. What about 5 minutes? If I read 5 minutes every day, okay, that's small and simple. I can achieve that. So that will be the first step if you want to start reading more. The second, make it visible for you. If you want to start reading more, then put the book next to your table or bring it in your purse every day so you have it visible for you. And the third one is, if you keep track of this new habit every day, for example, you can keep it track in a piece of paper where you put the days of the week, for example, from Monday to Sunday, and you can check it in a box, or for example, you can put a sticker, something that make it fun for you too. Because when we want to implement habits, this doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I have to start reading again, and make it hard for you. Make it simple and funny and fun for you. So you can put a sticker every day, every time you do it.
You can say there as well, every time you follow through with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that phrasal verb, but like
Love
essentially
it.
when you complete something, when you fulfill it and you do it, you can say in English to follow through with it.
Oh,
so
great.
you put a sticker or a tick in the box every time you follow through with that habit.
Okay, great. I will use it. So I will say you would put the sticker every time you follow through
With the habit.
with the habit. Great.
Exactly. That's it. Great.
Love it.
Perfect.
You're a quick learner.
Yeah.
I hope I don't forget this new phrase.
Good.
that I
And
learned.
also, I just wanted to mention your English was superb, but there was a very common mistake in there,
Okay.
which you noticed yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a very common mistake, which I think not all of my students, sorry students, some students make occasionally, which is the difference between fun and funny.
Yeah.
I find it difficult to explain, so Jolie.
You find it difficult to explain?
Yeah, I'll hand over to you.
So fun is divertido and funny is gracioso.
Yeah.
Obviously, in some ways they are similar, but they're not exactly the same. So I wouldn't say, oh, my weekend was very funny, unless something funny happened. You would say my weekend was really fun. So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
how
I
would
say if I
explain it.
laugh, it's funny.
Yeah.
If not, it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and Gaby gave some very good examples of how
Yes,
to
she did.
implement a habit. But Jolie, how could you use that in your English studying?
Exactly. Really, really important things that Gaby was saying here. So especially about the being small and simple and starting your habit in a very small and simple way. To not overwhelm yourself. Overwhelm is agobiar. And to not make it daunting. This is another word that I would use, and I don't know how to say it in Spanish, so I can't give you the translation, but it basically means to be intimidating and scary. So it's very daunting. Like you could have said, Gaby, that coming on this podcast for you and speaking in English was a little bit daunting. So yeah, you don't want to make the habit daunting. You want to keep it small and simple so that you follow through with it. And it's almost too impossible to not do it. It's that easy, you know? So 5 minutes a day. Also about making it visible, that's really important, having that visible cue that triggers the habit. So that could be, if anyone listening who's thinking about, wait, how can I apply this to my English? You all have a calendar at work in your Teams account or in your Outlook account where you have your meetings. Why you're not using that same resource to put 5 minutes, 10 minutes habitually in your calendar throughout the week that triggers the response to go, okay, now is my 10 minutes of English.
Yeah.
Now is when I do that habit. So that visual element is really important. And then obviously keeping track as well. It gives us naturally like that sense of satisfaction. You all know what it's like when you have a long to-do list and you just cross it off. It's so satisfying. Sometimes I do something and it's not on my to-do list and I'm like, okay, I just need to write it on my to-do list so I can cross it off because I did that, you know?
Yeah.
I think maybe
what is
we
to
all do that.
cross off?
To cross off. Oh, you're testing my Spanish. I don't know. What is to cross off?
Tachar.
Ah, okay.
Tachar.
Tachar.
Tachar, sí.
Ah, okay.
Y daunting,
Yeah.
I think it could be in Spanish like intimidar.
Yeah, intimidating. See. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be, exactly. So all of those elements are super important when you're learning a language like English, and we pull these elements into our method as well. So after I've explained already about week 1 and how we visualize, you know, where we could be, and we consider that to be just a possibility. After that, we then explore habits and how habits are so important in our progress when it comes to English, because yep, traditional homework serves the purpose. It's there for a reason, but ultimately if you want to make changes in your life, what Gaby was saying at the beginning is that honestly, like if you want to change your life, you have to change your habits. And that's how you make the difference. It's in the small things that you do every day that make the big difference. So by educating our students to understand that those 10, 15 minutes a day accumulates over time and really makes a difference between you feeling confident in your meeting or not, then like, that's where the changes happen, you know?
Very good. And Gaby, do you have any real life examples of where you've made a change in your habits or you've implemented something into your life?
Yeah, as I was given before the example of reading, that's the way I'm implementing right now. I want to read more, and I want to reconnect with this habit that I used to have, that is reading every night. So I started small with 5 pages. Before I say 5 minutes, but you can choose 5 minutes, 5 pages, 10 pages, something that feels achievable for you, and at the same time, a little bit challenging, you know? You want to also stretch yourself and because you know you're capable. And that's why I put the book in my night table, so I make it visible. I can put my cell phone, but I decide to put my book because I'm committed to this new habit. I track myself. I track this new habit every night, and I have a small table, like a piece of paper, where I put the stickers. I like to make it in a fun way, so I put the stickers every time that I do it.
Yeah.
If there's a day that I don't do it, so I don't put the sticker. And at the end of the week, I sit down with myself and I say, okay, how many times I read this week?
Yeah.
Okay, 3 of 7 days. Okay, maybe I have to do something different. Maybe 10 pages is being too much for me. Maybe I can do 5 pages. How can I make it this more adaptable for me in this situation?
Yeah.
Like when you start to do something different in your life, you also have to have this time with yourself to reflect on what is going good, what needs improvement, and what can you do. Like it could be daily or every week or every month, but this will help you to keep you on track. And one thing that has helped me too is to have a support atmosphere. Like the social influence helps a lot. You know, I tell to my partner, like, I will be reading at night 5 minutes, 5 pages. Can you help me and be my accountability buddy?
That's
you know?
it, the accountability buddy or accountability partner. That's so important. I'm so glad that you have brought that up, because it's also an element that we really try to include within this 12-week process, within the Savvy method, where we're learning about how to make our habits as easy as possible so that we do follow through with them. And that element of reflection is so important, so that people actually have that common practice to go, okay, how many times a week did I read? Let's look at the table. How many stickers do I have?
Right. Yeah.
And then at the end of the week, you can go, oh, wow, okay, 7 out of 7. So I'm doing something right. Or, 4 out of 7. What could I change to make this habit more achievable? Maybe I need to reduce the quantity of pages for a period of time until that becomes a habit that's non-negotiable and that happens every day. Yeah. Or maybe reading at night is not working for me. Maybe I'm getting to bed and I'm too tired, so I need to do it at another time of day. And it's having that reflection that is so important. And also the last thing that you said about accountability, which I feel like some people don't always understand what that means. In Spanish would be like responsabilidad, would you say? Doesn't really have like a direct translation, which is it's difficult for us to explain what that means.
Yeah. Like in Spanish, even though I like that word, like accountability in English. Like in Spanish, it would be like soporte, que alguien sea tu amiga de tu apoyo, un soporte, que sea esa persona. Okay, I was starting to
speak back into Spanish.
Yeah, I was speaking in Spanish to explain the word, but it's not exact meaning, but accountability will be like apoyo.
Yeah, support.
Yeah.
Exactly. And support sometimes can look like a buddy. I think it can look like a partner, but it also could be something else. I've seen sometimes when people set themselves a challenge that feels daunting, but they really want to follow through with it, they might post something on social media. They might announce to the world, I'm doing this for 100 days. Yes or yes, this is happening. Yeah. And that's a lot of accountability, because then you don't want to look like the sort of person who, doesn't then do that because you told the world that you are. So it's another form of accountability. But there are many ways. I always really like the gym analogy when, let's say you say to yourself, tomorrow morning I'm going to the gym at 6:30 in the morning before work. Okay, if you really want to hold yourself accountable to that, find someone else who's willing to get up and go to the gym at 6:30 with you and have that commitment to them. You're far more likely to go because you won't want to disappoint that person. Whereas when we don't have that accountability element, I think naturally humans, especially when we're starting to introduce new habits, we just let ourselves off the hook. Don't know that expression in Spanish. Before you ask me, Sam's eyes just lit up.
Yeah, let off the hook.
Oh my God, I don't
forgive
know
yourself
neither.
for something.
Perdonar. Could be,
Yeah.
like to forgive yourself and say, oh, no te preocupes, mañana.
Yeah.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, to let yourself off the hook.
I think it comes from fishing. No,
Does it?
the expression, yeah.
Makes
because
sense.
if you're on the hook, you're going to be caught and you're going to
You
be
don't
taken
get
out.
the circumstances,
Yeah,
the
and if you're
consequences.
fish, if you get
You're
off
let
the
back
hook,
into the
you're
sea.
free and you're forgiven and you're not going to die.
That's true.
I'm not sure if that helps to explain it or makes it more difficult.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
anyway, but to let yourself off the hook, you're far more likely to excuse yourself, let's say, or to forgive yourself for not doing these things if you have no element of accountability.
One question for Gaby.
Okay.
Do you have a recommendation of an Ecuadorian food just to finish?
Okay, Ecuadorian food.
Yeah.
So I say it in Spanish.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, I love Ecuadorian food, but I would recommend tigrillo. Tigrillo is which is a dish that is more typical in the coast area of Ecuador because we have different regions. But if you go to the coast, but you can also find it in the highlands, it's a dish which the main ingredients are plantain, cheese, butter, and different species, and salt. And you eat it with an egg, fried egg, and also they give you with coffee. It's like a breakfast, but
Sounds lovely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it sounds like it got better
delicious.
and better and better.
Yeah, so if you go to Ecuador,
And
try
then an
tigrillo.
egg, and then some cheese, and then it's fried, and then they
Yeah.
bring you a coffee.
Try tigrillo for sure.
Tigrillo.
Tigrillo.
Vale.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we'll wrap up there. Thank you very much. Gaby, I said that I would make corrections to your English throughout, but your English was spot on. Good little expression, spot on. Is, exactly correct. So hats off to you.
Ah, yes. Hats off. It's true. Hats off to you means congratulations.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hats off to all of us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Hats off to us for a wonderful podcast. And that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Savvy Podcast. We've talked about how building a positive mindset and solid habits can help you get your head around even the most challenging tasks without feeling overwhelmed or daunted. A big thank you to Jodie Pullen and Gabriela for their fantastic advice. Don't forget to click the link in the description for more examples and tips from today's episode. Thanks for listening and see you next time.